from Cleveland's most accurate weather team. This is 19 First Alert Plus, sponsored by the man that makes them pay, Tim Misney.
Good Friday evening. Chris Fry coming to you from the 19 News Digital Studios with a look at your forecast. And we are still in a first alert weather day for Northeast Ohio, at least parts of Northeast Ohio. Let's bring in 19 First Alert meteorologist Erica Page with an update. And Erica, while you're on right now, I will go ahead and show this vantage point of Lake County right now. This is I-90, and it was just switched over. So I think this is State Route 528, one of the last roads before you get into Ashtabula, and this has pretty much been the scene for the last 24 hours when we started talking about this last night. Look how thick this snow is, albeit in a unfocused phase by the camera.
Probably going to have a little bit of a harder time focusing just because of how heavy some of that snow has been falling across the area. But I think that pretty much gives you a good picture. Basically, if you don't have to be out tonight, east of Cleveland, in Lake County, in Ashtabula County, especially the northern part of Ashtabula County, just don't. Travel has been very bad across that area throughout a good majority of today. That extends into Pennsylvania, into New York. Even the wording from the National Weather Service is basically saying that any travel is strongly discouraged. If you absolutely have to go out, make sure your gas tank is full. Make sure you've got warm weather gear in the car just in case something were to happen, you get stuck, whatever the case may be. And make sure you've got food and water in there as well. You make sure basically you've got that emergency supply kit handy because, I mean, we saw about 2 feet fall in spots across Northeast Ohio of snow in less than 24 hours. And it's possible that before this band finally moves back out over the lake tomorrow, we could see an additional 2 feet in some spots. That doesn't mean everybody's going to see 2 feet, but it is certainly a possibility. So there's a very good reason as to why tonight and to tomorrow is a 19 First Alert weather day for some of us. And this lake effect pattern is just going to continue as we look ahead towards the early part of this next week, which is why those alert days continue Monday into Tuesday as well. So when you're talking about the alerts that we have across the area, you'll notice, and I'm going to kind of back this up to just remove some of that text just so it doesn't get quite as cluttered there. You can see Lake Geauga as well as Ashtabula County still under that lake effect snow warning until 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. For Geauga County, it's mainly the northern half of the county. For Ashtabula County, basically the same story about the northern half or so, where we expect to see some of the worst snowfall. Cuyahoga County under that winter weather advisory until 10 o'clock tomorrow morning as well. And that really is mainly for basically the northeastern portions of the county where we anticipate that band could sink a little farther to the south over the next several hours. But you'll see as we kind of run through your snow tracker here, it's really the bullseye of far eastern Lake County into northern Ashtabula County, basically where that I-90 corridor resides as it starts to exit Northeast Ohio, that we could really see that additional 1 to 2 feet still possible in some spots. When you look at radar, it's impressive. I mean, there's really no other way to say that. How strong and kind of thick this band has been throughout the day today, how persistent it has been, and certainly we're seeing snowfall rates out of this thing that are upwards of 1 to 3 inches in spots per hour. That is incredible. It's an incredible amount of snow. It's going to be really hard for any plows to basically keep up with that, which is why travel along I-90 is so strongly discouraged. Route 2, same story goes for you folks. Once you start getting up towards the Mentor area, out towards Madison, even up towards Ashtabula, keep that in mind. Conditions are going to be very, very bad as we kind of go through the overnight hours into early tomorrow morning. So I'll quickly run through your first alert future view just to give you an idea of how this continues as we go through the rest of the night tonight. And you can see that band kind of waffles here, at least a little bit across parts of Northeast Ohio. It's possible northern Cuyahoga County gets a little bit of the action late tonight, but what's eventually going to happen is our winds, which are westerly right now, which is why we're seeing such a strong feed into Lake, northern Geauga, into Ashtabula counties. That wind is eventually going to steer more so out of the southwest. So you can see how that eventually kind of pushes all that moisture back offshore for the most part. So if you live in that I-90 corridor north to the lake shore across Lake and Ashtabula counties, you may never completely see the snow come to a complete halt as we go through the day tomorrow, but we should see it lighten up at least a little bit, which is good news for us because tomorrow really looks to be the best break in the activity that we will likely see. And you'll notice inland spots too. I know this is 10 p.m., but if you were to rewind this back, some spots will probably see a little bit of blue sky peeking through some of these clouds, despite how cold it's going to be. It's not going to help your temperature a whole lot, but it will at least help to kind of keep things a little bit more quiet in terms of our weather pattern as we go through the day tomorrow. The problem is that wind direction then starts to shift back out of the west once again. So it's going to bring all that moisture back down to the south and eventually allows more of northeast Ohio to potentially get in on some of the snow as we look ahead towards Sunday. So you'll see more of northern Cuyahoga County, Lorain County, possibly even out towards Erie County, the islands, finally starting to get in on a little bit more of this action. And I think that is really going to be one of the bigger trends that we'll notice headed into the early part of this next week.
All right, Erica Page, give us 15 seconds and let's hear a word from our sponsor.
I've represented families just like yours for over 4 decades. Listen, if you need me, call me. You know I'll be there for you and I'll make them pay. In the meantime, I'll keep an eye out for you.
All right, Erica, we've got the 7-day forecast, including the double weekend. And from my count, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out of the 10 days, half of the days, the high temperature is under freezing, is below freezing. Is that right?
Yeah.
Is that am I counting that correctly?
Let me go through count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Get 6 days.
6, okay.
Yeah.
Math wasn't my strong suit in
close.
college, so yeah.
It's fine. We've got about 6 days, yeah. I mean, if you were to look at this and you weren't really looking at the calendar, you'd probably guess we were at the end of January, early February, with just how cold this kind of snap of weather has been. We're kind of getting the backside of what we saw earlier this month. This month, early in the month, we saw the warm temperatures, the unseasonable warmth, the record heat, all that stuff. Now we're kind of getting the flip side of that coin. So unfortunately, with how warm the lake water temperatures are into the mid to upper 40s, anytime you get this kind of cold air coming in, lake effect is open for business. So that's going to be our primary concern through Tuesday. That's why we have the alert days in place. We'll have to see how much additional snowfall is possible Monday into Tuesday. I don't want to kind of talk about totals too far out because obviously these bands can shift a little bit, and so we want to make sure that we're getting the best data there. But once we get beyond Tuesday, we've got a system snow that starts to roll in. So that gives us a more widespread opportunity area-wide Wednesday, Thursday, and potentially into Friday as well, where we could see more widely scattered snow showers across our area. That's a clipper system coming in from the north, so that's why you see that temperature drop a little bit more Thursday into Friday and kind of solidify that very Arctic-like chill into the early part of this next weekend. Longer range, beyond just this double weekend, may paint a picture that our pattern finally starts to kind of break a little bit from this colder stretch that we've been in. So we'll see if mid-December can finally bring that, but that really looks to be your next best opportunity to really see a more prolonged period of temperatures that are back into the mid to upper 30s.
It's actually shut down part of that interstate as I take myself off mute, Erica. Let me repeat what I'm saying. All right, so you're looking at right now live pictures from, this is Pennsylvania, their ODOT camera system, and you see vehicles stuck on the interstate. And from what I understand, Erica, the Pennsylvania-New York state line is shut down eastward. Yeah. So just kind of, and you can't see the video, but folks can see the video at home right now. Yeah. It's gotten progressively worse in that area than what we've seen here in Ohio.
Yeah, you know, I mean, there's a good reason for why they're doing this. I mean, travel's just becoming impossible. And the problem is, if we continue to see the band that we have set up across parts of Lake County and Ashtabula County, here, and I'll bring radar back into this just so we've got a visual reference here. If we continue to see this, similar situations may plan out. I mean, I'm not saying that ODOT's necessarily going to shut down the interstate. I don't know that. I don't obviously make that call. But if conditions get bad enough, certainly that may be a discussion. I know speeds have already been dropped across parts of Lake County into Ashtabula County, wherever they do that variable speed limit, to at least 40 miles per hour. I highly doubt anybody's actually going 40 miles per hour if they're driving through that section. But again, if we zoom this out, you can see how expansive this lake effect is, but how much stronger some of those snowfall rates are coming into Northeast Ohio as compared to what you're seeing a little farther up to the north. So, I mean, it's messy, and really, if you do not need to be out on the roads, do not go out on the roads, especially east of Cleveland along I-90. Just absolutely avoid it, because it will be treacherous if you're going to try and be out there tonight. Very much so. And a lot of people seem to be heeding that warning. But once again, you know, you're talking about a time of the year where everyone is on the road traveling, and it just makes for a really bad predicament. But we shall see the after effects of this as this lake effect system continues. 19 First Alert meteorologist Erica Page giving us the latest on this storm system. Erica, we'll see you coming up at 11 o'clock. Yes, we have an 11 o'clock newscast over on 19. Our only evening newscast will give you the total day in news here in Northeast Ohio, from Black Friday to the weather. We'll have all that for you coming up at 11 o'clock. Join us on 19 News at 11. I'm Chris Fry in the 19 News Digital Studios. We'll see you in just over an hour.
19 News, now streaming on Samsung Smart TV. Search for channel 1035.